Hey. Oh, man, I'm super excited for this one. How to stop trading time for money. It's a big topic. It is probably the most requested topic. Every conversation I have when I'm a guest on a podcast or I'm in a thread talking about the benefits of productization and systemization and how to deliver services a little bit differently than time and projects fees. And I'm excited to give this. This is a light version, pretty similar to a talk I gave at Squarespace headquarters in 2023 at Circle Day. It was more of a fireside chat, so while it was recorded, there was no microphone or anything, so it just sounded like a big empty room, and they didn't want to publish it, and I don't blame them. It wasn't that great, and to be honest, I wasn't that great. Even in the last 2 years, I've come a long way. So I decided, instead of turning this into a course and making it bigger, maybe bigger than it needed to be, I'm just going to give it away and share it here. Hopefully this helps you ideate or think hard about something that maybe you could be doing a little bit differently. I talk a lot about my business, and I don't always get into the weeds of the exact offering or what got me there. So hopefully this is a little bit of that. This is based on my business, which you don't have to build. You can build yours. I've got a bunch of that in here. Wrong finger in here. So I'm just going to get right into it, because it's a pretty big one. So here's what we're going to cover, right? This is the toolkit: packaging, pricing, process, and I'm going to get into the pitfalls, because you can't make a major change in how your business delivers without covering the pitfalls. And first, a little bit about me. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, holding up a notepad in which I scribbled the word hi. I've been doing this a long time. I think I've established this on this channel. I started making websites in 1996. I started creating on Squarespace in 2010, which puts me at about 15 years at this point. And, 29 years in the game. I've held every role there is to hold at an agency, and I've worked with some absolutely incredible brands. There's a exhaustive list at waynepelletier.com. And then, we've won awards. I like to say my team won awards. I don't take credit for those. I don't even like listing them. The campaigns have made millions of dollars and driven thousands of customers to these brands. And that's something I can't attribute all of the success to the creative itself. Obviously, media strategy has a lot more to do with it than the creative does, but creative is part of it, and I'm proud to have been part of that team, all those teams, and that exercise. I have deep experience with all the different types of projects, right? From retainers, and I obviously have done some value-based pricing. I love fixed bid projects. They do become a exercise in managing and whittling time down and trying to manage that. I've done performance pay, lead generation campaigns, lots of those. So I've seen how all this stuff works, and I've seen how it breaks. And the challenges, I want to say, I'm not reading a slide to say the challenges are real, but this is just a list of some of the things that I have found challenge us over the years. It is by no means exhaustive, but some of these will probably resonate with you. And even though I love what I do, and likely you love what you do, that's why you got into the game, I apologize if some of these give you big feelings, but I get it. I have more on these and how to overcome these in the next couple of slides. And this isn't even a long deck. It's like 8 or 10 slides long. So you're not even in for a long ride here. So those challenges being painful, I get it. This is what I love about productized services. Okay. And I'm going to just use that as a blanket statement. I offer a subscription based business. You don't have to do subscriptions. You can do a productized service, because really when we talk about productized, the idea is everyone goes through the same process. You have a mature process, and the outcome, while creatively is different, the deliverable is the same. Like, you're repeating that deliverable over and over again. It doesn't matter if it's logos, websites, PowerPoint presentations, videos for social media, whatever you make, you can productize it. And by productize, like I said, it's a blanket statement to say a consistent process, right? And here are some of the things I love about it, is that when I like to say, when we launch the website, it's not the end. It's not sayonara. It's not peace out. It is just welcome to the beginning. It's a milestone at the beginning of the engagement. It is by no means a milestone that says the end. And customers become a long-term partner, and I really enjoy having and value having long-term relationships with people in business. It's how I manage myself. It's how I manage my business. It's based entirely on people, engaging with people, and maintaining those relationships with those people. The businesses aside, one thing I've told team members and coworkers in the past is, we work together now. We're friends for life. We may not always be pals. You may not even like me, and maybe there's an outside chance I don't love you, but we know each other. We're at least LinkedIn contacts, and that means something. We're forever connected in this broader ecosystem of professionals, and that can't just be undone. So I manage myself that way. And one thing I like about the idea of productization from a services standpoint is how predictable things can be by going through the same process over and over again. While the outcomes are always entirely different, no two websites look anything alike, and the content is obviously different because they're different businesses, but the project becomes sizably predictable, and that really helps. Another thing that's predictable is the recurring revenue. I'm going to show you how recurring revenue stacks and how to build that in the next couple of slides coming up here. But what that gets you is a roadmap. At a certain number of projects, you can take on a certain amount of infrastructure improvements, or invite certain staff members, hire people to do specific things, from whether it's an executive assistant or accountant or bookkeeper or a designer or a writer or whatever it is. And that math, for my pea brain, being so easy, is really valuable to me. That ease, that predictability of the growth roadmap. And hopefully through productization, we're able to build a more predictable business that gives us more freedom in our life. I don't always think about building a business. I'm trying to build a life, a lifestyle, not a lifestyle business, but a lifestyle. I have goals, and I have not goals so much as directional forces, but I have things that I want to accomplish in order to meet personal milestones. And to do that, it's really great to take time off or save or do some things that can be pretty difficult to do when you run a project-based business that's trading time for money, because we all know the ebb and flow of project lifecycle and seasonality is bananas sometimes. It's unreasonably difficult to navigate at times. So, like I said, productized service is something that can create a lot of predictability, and there's different ways to productize, right? But in general, it needs to meet 3 criteria. And the criteria are not subscription-based or a specific type of process based. It's not price based. It can be project based and just you need to sell more projects. So the 3 criteria are that it needs to be teachable, valuable, and repeatable. That's the gist of it. And the idea is when you focus on products and services you can teach a team member or deliver consistently, right? Not only does that become a great source of content, it also becomes something that can scale. The entire idea of being teachable and having SOPs and being able to scale the business, without the ability or without doing that, you can't take any time off from the business. You wind up being stuck in your seat, working in order to pay the bills. And if you're not working, if you're not doing billable hours, then there's no income coming for those moments. And that doesn't feel great. And it's not fair. So I think, I don't know if fair is the right word, but I think that navigating that by having documented processes that are teachable is incredibly valuable. And speaking of value, specialize in something that you're better at doing than anyone else, right? Like you have a monopoly on you. You do what you do, the way you do it, your process, your workflow, your tools, your outcomes, your experience and expertise, your personal history, your professional history. You're it. So pull that forward. And I've got a lot more on that on an upcoming slide. And it needs to be repeatable. It needs to be something you can do over and over again and maintain success. The idea isn't to change how we're producing creative or change the idea of design or the type of design we want to do. When you're running a process, right? And we run manufacturing businesses, like it or not, design is manufacturing. And to change the outcomes, we actually have to change our process. The principles of design are evergreen. So in order to meet those consistently, we have a process. To change the outcomes, we have to change the process. To make them repeatable, we have to document it, talk about its value, and create something that is recurable for us. I don't even know if recurable is a word. Anyway, tell me in the comments if I think it is actually, now that I think about it. All right, so moving on, I'm going to get into packaging. What I like about this idea is, okay, I'm covering a lot on this slide. I respect that this is 4 whole honking quadrants and it's a lot. And I'm not going to give you any time to read it. You can pause the video if you want to actually read that, if it's even legible at the size you're looking at. But choose your future by choosing and deciding who it is you want to work with. You have any industry niche or experience in any industry, supporting any industry or in any vertical or with any type of material or business type or person type, like leader type, then you leverage that, right? Decide who it is that gives you energy and double down on them and create a great positioning statement. I do blank for blank so they can get blank. I didn't invent positioning statements. That is absolutely regurgitated from 6,000 of the YouTube videos and books and everything else that I've read. So pick people that give you energy. That's all I did. That's all I did. Pick people that give me energy and separate myself from people who suck it out of me. And I'm a bit of an extrovert, so that's difficult to do. And then understand your unique selling proposition. This is my experience personally. This is your experience personally. This is bring what you do to the table, what only you can do. If you have specific skills, like Liam Neeson, I have a very specific set of skills. Bring those to the table. It's you. It's your experience, whom you've helped in the past. your style, your vibes, your experience. Bring that to the table and talk about it. Figure out a way to niche into that and consider packaging it up, making it part of your process, and pull all that personality forward. Not just your personality, but the business's personality, because I don't know that they're really different. So the next up, outside of your experience, is leveraging and combining your platform assets and resources. Look, if you're a Canva expert, put Canva and Squarespace or WordPress or whatever you work in, pull forward the features that you use the most, or features from the platforms that provide value that people don't talk about. And here's an example. A lot of people with a WordPress website have to pay $50 or $60 a year to, say, GoDaddy for their SSL certificate. It's a charge that happens, and after every couple of years, they forget what it was all about, and they go, what was this $60 for? Squarespace just throws in SSL with the account. It's free. So I can offer free SSL when I'm selling you a Squarespace website. Pull forward the features of the platform that help you tell a benefit story to your potential client, your best customer model, right? It doesn't matter if it's Ahrefs, if it's SEO Space, Canva, Adobe, Google Analytics. There's literally 100 platforms that you could pull from. And then make these specific features and benefits like combos, make them packages, make them perks, make them benefits of working with you. List them out. There's power in combining the features of the tools that you use every day and how you combine them to deliver great value to people. List that out. Bang that right out into a list. All right. Next up is pricing. This one's a little more abstract, but let me chat about pricing real quick. The three basic types, right? Labor, value, and performance. Not getting into performance pay here. None of this is about lead generation or any of those direct marketing style or performance pay style engagements. We're trying to go from, I can move my finger over here, the most popular type, which is labor pricing, trading time for money. This is my hourly rate, or you could have a flat fee for a project, but it's based on the amount of hours you think something is going to take. And then there's value-based pricing, which I understand is arguable for some people. They're still going to base it on time. But the idea of value-based pricing is what I'm producing is worth this to that company, regardless of how much time it takes me. Separating those two. It's hard to do. It's hard for a lot of people to get their head around. But this is the ballpark for where productized services land, is in the value-based spacing. You can base things on the amount of time something is going to take you, but you're just backing into a number that is probably not going to allow you to provide the best service. Because when you think about a productized service, you're really removing some of the barriers to interacting with the industry that we're in. And basing everything on time makes that extremely difficult to do. Whereas the value-based pricing model, or the idea of value-based pricing, is to say this is worth this much to this type of company, whether it's 1% of revenues or 10%, whatever it is that we do, and whatever we believe that it can generate or benefit the company, then that value is where we're going to land. And we'll back into how much time things should or shouldn't take. I don't base my subscriptions, for instance, based on the amount of time that something is expected to take. I don't care, because I'm interested in lifetime value. I'm not interested in $5K for a project. $5K for a project is great, 10, 20, 30K, whatever you charge for a website or social media graphics or copywriting, whatever it is fine. But this is what I call the value loop, and I haven't patented. I need to probably figure out how to patent this idea. So the value loop works like this. You've got projects, and you know what the feast and famine cycle of project work looks like. We all do. You get 5K, 10, 20K month, and then a 3K month. and then a 6K month, and then an 18K month. And these things fluctuate all over the place. It makes it really hard to pay your bills on time. It makes it hard to manage a business. It makes revenue unpredictable. And repeating that cycle is exhausting. I personally believe that it is a leading indicator for burnout. It's a terrible way to live. At least I thought it was a terrible way to live. And I thought there's got to be a better way. Yes, if you have a productized service, you may not be able to get maximum revenue for any particular type of project. But the idea here is to stack customers. So if we're stacking, and I call them customers, the word is clients for most people. I get it. So by stacking clients and repeating that process, now with a subscription base especially, every customer I add, it adds to that base level of revenue, recurring revenue, which is my entire goal, to get out of the feast famine cycle of project work. So this slide is just a comparison of what project work looks like. You know that pain, and what a productized service subscription looks like. So this is the pricing loop I was talking about. The idea, maybe I'll try to patent. Not really. I'm joking around. But when it's something that needs to be frequently replenished, that is a great productized service opportunity. If it's something that requires infrequent but some amount of refresh or replenishment, that is a solid one. If it requires no replenishment or no replacement, it's not going to be a great service to productize. So something like email marketing that they've got to do multiple times a month or multiple times a day, social media, something like that, fantastic productization opportunity. Websites, a little bit stickier, a little bit, I don't want to say stickier, a little more problematic in that you only buy a website every, say, 3 years. A business only needs like a total website overhaul every 3 years. That could be 5. I don't really know the math across the entire industry, the internet. But in general, when you have that total and you know when they're going to rebuy, right? The idea of lifetime value isn't, I want 5K, and I'm just using that number because it's easy for me to math with my pea brain. But if you have to 5K and you know they're going to buy one every 3 years, then it's not the 10K in two payments, right, of 5K. We're really talking about a 6-year span. I want them to be clients for not just 6 years, 18 years, even if it's just 15 years. So the idea is to charge monthly for all 3 websites over a 15-year span, which monthly is not a lot of dough. I think the example on here is like $278. When I started my subscriptions, they were $280 a month. Almost all of those subscribers, 2.5 years in, are still with me. Most of them are still paying that same or entry rate, even though my subscription fee has gone up. I don't raise it on the old customers. You know, that's driven a lot of revenue, recurring revenue for the business. And that's the whole idea here, is understanding where that value loops. So if you've got a $20,000 project, or if you need to make $20,000 a month, but you can only manage 4 clients at a time, then your rate needs to be $5,000 a month. Explaining $5,000 a month in value is really hard to do. So think about how to size that when the recurrence happens, and identify the recurrence, and then, or that sort of recurring moment where they need to rebuy or replenish, then charge accordingly for a certain number of those that you think is a reasonable amount of lifetime for that total span of engagement. This slide's a lot. I can appreciate that. If you have questions, comments, If you want to join my email list and chat about it, you can do that. There's going to be a link in the description after this publishes. But comments down below, like and subscribe, and hit me up. That is a abstract concept, I understand, but I want to keep going here because we're at 25 minutes, and I already feel like I'm talking too fast and hurrying. But I want to get into the process. I'm not going to touch on accounting formats, cash versus accrual. There are videos on that. I do want to talk about providing great customer service and how to provide ongoing value. But really, the point of this slide, the best one is right here, to say systemize everything. Everything. I think a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I did a video on my Trello setup. It's on lock. I got a new subscriber yesterday, introduced them to the Trello board, and got a DM just 10 minutes later like, I cannot believe how good this onboarding process is. It's got to be on lock. So systemize everything. If you're not sure something's ever going to be done a second time, don't build a system. But if you're ever going to do it more than once, build a system. Productize requires systemization, which that's how CEOs and COOs, CFOs, every C, that's how they think, right? I agree. When something goes really well, a bad manager may say, whose fault is it? Or what happened? But when something goes, when something goes poorly, a bad manager is going to say, hey, what went wrong? Whose fault is it? That's what I meant to say. If something goes really well, it's just, you might get a good job. But a good CEO says, that went really well. How can we repeat that? That's what I mean by thinking like a CEO. Become a CEO and say, anything that's going well, think about ways of designing a system to repeat that kind of success. Next, customer service. It's part of systemization. Streamline everything. It's got to run like clockwork. If there's any operational drag, people will start to feel that. And it starts to create negative vibe in the business. I'm not going to harp on it. I'm just going to say that automated communications are your friend. Nobody else knows they're automated, or they don't care that communications are automated. Automate all routine communications. I even go so far as to have text expander on my Mac, and I have keyboard shortcuts for all kinds of things I have to type all the time. My email address, my book an appointment link, things I don't want to have to go find or type. Saving those seconds start to stack. The same thing goes with customer emails. All of those emails. You can't provide great service and not stay in touch. And it's coming from someone who hates writing an email that says, your thing is done. That's like the one email I absolutely hate writing. I just want to send it to me. It gets done. It's going to be done. Not everybody loves that about me. That's one of my quirks. It all influences the ongoing perception of value that we're providing. One thing that you will get stuck on, and I got more of this in the upcoming slide and 2 slides from now in the pitfalls. Might even be the next slide. I'm not even looking. What have you done for me lately? Nobody should ever ask that question. Email is the key to staying in touch with people, to let them know that there are new features in the platform they should be taking advantage of, that new content has come out about the business, that we've changed something programmatically or part of our process, or we've named our process differently, or we've added a new feature or an add-on or subscription or whatever. Bring people together, connect them to what we're creating, and stay in communication with them. And you will turn the table on what have you done for me lately into, sorry, yeah, I know I owe you stuff. It is entirely different just because we've stayed in touch. And it is a powerful way to maintain great relationships. So I'm going to recap. I'm way ahead on my notes. create one thing, one core offer. If you want to think about trying a productized service offering, if it is a loss leader or if it leads into other things, it's difficult to continue selling. So if you're going to consider it, consider making the shift. And that's why the title of this video is, or includes, the mindset shift. That's really what we're doing here, is thinking about how to overcome anxieties around not charging money for time. Here's some more. So always think lifetime value. How long is this person, this business, anticipated to be engaged with the business? I think 3 websites. My goal is 15 to 18 years. Longer, amazing. Shorter, okay, it's fine. All the hard costs were covered. I don't track time per project, but we do spot track time, so I can have an understanding of what different levels of effort inside of the process are, so that can help inform how we're operating the business. Commit to one offering. Like I said, one offering. Make it super easy to acquire, like ridiculously easy. People are often shocked when I tell them not just the price, but what they have to give me to get going. Here's an instance. I don't need to log into their WordPress website. I will just migrate them over to Squarespace. It's going to be just fine. If they want to give it, that's great. But the exports are crap anyway, so why bother with them? We're going to cut and paste all the copy. You can do a 100-page migration in under a day. It's not that hard. Go migrate the website. Get the work done. Packaging and processing for scale. That's what I mean by systemize everything. If it moves, it gets a process. And I'm always thinking about how can I alter the process to make something go more smoothly. Not necessarily faster, smoothly. So that there's always an understanding of what phase we're in the process. And there's communications around that. And then once they're published and live and we're celebrating success and we're out of the last phase and the website's out, then staying in touch via email, systemizing that too. So lastly, I'll say, remember to make it teachable, valuable, and repeatable. It is sort of the core tenets of any kind of productized service. And now the hard part. And there's somebody in here watching. What's up? Appreciate you. I even got a thumbs up. We're smoking today. Smoking. All right. Communicate with your loved ones and dependents and your cat, your dog. Let everybody and everything, tell your plants if you need to, that this shift is happening in the business, because there are really hard times and there are really great times, and they deserve to know why you're feeling ups and downs and why you're on this roller coaster. It's a big transition, and I'm trying not to be overly dramatic about it, but the second bullet on here, the dip, that shit is real. Like, I call it the pit of despair. Think of it this way. If you're selling 3 websites a month, making $15,000 a month, that's phenomenal. Great. Good for you. Obviously, you have a great system for driving leads at top of funnel or getting referrals. But going from 3 $5,000 projects to onboarding 3 $500 projects, and now you're only getting $15 a month, right? $1,500 a month. That is a dramatic change. So make sure you have money socked away to help you get through that. Fortunately, the math is real. You can just say, I need this many subscriptions to get back to $15,000 a month. And you don't have to pivot immediately. You can bring on subscriptions, change your project offering, and slowly create, what's the word? Juxtaposition. Like, overlap those things to the point where you finally get to the spot where you say, you know what, no more projects. No more projects. We're just doing the subscriptions. Now, if you continue doing projects and you have a productized service, you're selling your process, and you're going to need to have a system to repeat that, and content's going to help you, and having a great brand and all your marketing content around that is going to have to be super tight. But know how long it's going to take you to get to your goal recurring revenue based on the number of new customers you need to onboard. If it's 20, fine. If it's 30, whatever. I don't know, because I don't know what you're going to be charging per month or if you're even going to bother. But I would say that my initial price was really low, but I'm gifted at customer service, so I can manage a lot of accounts at once, like 30. So price it so that you don't have to manage too many engagements or manage outside of your abilities, but that is going to tell you the amount of time it's going to take you, however many months, hopefully not years, to get to that level of recurring revenue. Then you will be out of the dip. There's an entire book. It's called The Dip. Seth Godin wrote it. He's a genius. Read the book. It's awesome. I've read it. It's incredible. This one could be tough, this last bullet on here. The model is pretty foreign to people who are strictly time and materials thinkers. I know I get panned, laughed at, jokes, whatever, from people who run bigger agencies or people who are better at time management and charging time for money, and they're able to scale their agency by adding bodies and adding more time to their roster and their queue. I think that's incredible. That's not me. So a lot of clients have been trained, a lot of brands have been trained to expect big project fees, big upfront timelines, and massive project plans. And they've been led to believe that everything is totally custom, even though every website is largely the same. They're used to interacting with our agency, with our industry a certain way. And asking them to think differently is a tall ask. So I say all that to just know going in that you're going to have that conversation and have wording, have phrases, have things that you say to help nurture people through that and help them see the benefit of what it is that we've created or you've created. And it goes a long way, just being prepared for it. Maybe I'll have a video in the future on how I navigate that conversation. I think it's super valuable, but I'm also practiced at it. I've been offering this for 2.5 years, so I probably should make that video. Shit, now I got more to do. All right, we're going to make that video. It's going to be fine. Give me a week to think on it and make some notes, and I'll bang that out. So I want to, we don't need a Q&A, right? I want to share some additional resources. These are things that have helped me think about it, get through this mindset shift, and also help me sort of share this information with others. There are books. The two I recommend are Built to Sell and The Automatic Customer, both by John Warlow. They're incredible. Pros.squarespace.com has a couple of really great blog posts on pricing web design and selling services. They don't cover productization exclusively, but there's a lot of really great information in there. Tons of YouTube videos. Are you kidding me? Tons. Just massive amount. I mentioned the book The Dip by Seth Godin a minute ago. Don't sleep on a podcast he has called Startup School. It is probably a 10-hour version of what I just talked about here. He doesn't speak only to subscription services or productized services, but he does cover it. And he covers a lot about how do you validate a business idea. And that's part of the process, right? And then three courses, things that I've taken and have absolutely enjoyed that helped me get through this mindset shift were the Productize and Scale course, the Productize Yourself, that is from the Design Joy guy, and Alt Agency Collective. I love being a member of Alt Agency. Greg Hickman, it runs an incredibly good course, and it's so thorough. I've learned a ton in there too, and there's some great folks. So all of that to say, I can probably stop sharing this now, but like and subscribe. If you want notifications for future live videos, I will do one on specific conversation around how to get people to understand a productized service when they're so used to buying time and materials. And connect with me on LinkedIn. You can join my email list. There's going to be a link in the description once this posts. I think at 40 minutes, this is the longest video I have ever done. So here's what we'll do. I will skip the AI and struggle bus segments and just punt those into Friday at this point. I'll be back here live Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, U.S. Eastern time. And I think that I'm going to change my scene. Hang on. I don't know how to do it. Doesn't matter. Look, I have two. Just two of you. What's up? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Ooh, chills. Feeling look at goose pimples. I appreciate you tremendously. Thank you. Leave comments, call me names, pick on my hair. Tell me I'm crazy, I'm wrong. It's all good. I don't care. I'm happy to respond. I'm happy to expand on any of the ideas in this video. Honestly, each one of these 8 slides could have been an entire video. I just didn't want to take 2 months to get all this out. It just didn't seem right. So it's not going to be a course. I thought about it, but I'm just going to give it all away. Just take it. Take all the ideas. They're not mine anyway. All I've done is use them to motivate myself to design a business that I think is helping me move in the direction I want to move in and build the life that I want to build. And that's the outcome. That's the ideal outcome. So anyway, thank you. Like and subscribe and follow and all that stuff. Hit the bell. I don't know what all the words are. I watch these videos and they're like, all organized about it. Not me. I'm obviously moving too fast. So thanks. I appreciate you. And I will talk at you Friday, 11 a.m. right back here. Thanks.